I remember the day very clearly. It was a quiet afternoon, not much different from the others. The sky was gray and it had been raining lightly. I sat on the couch in my small apartment, waiting for his message. We had been texting earlier that morning. He said he was feeling tired. I told him to rest and that I loved him. That's how it always went. I always tried to understand. I always tried to give love even when he was not at his best. That day, he sent me a longer message. I remember my heart started beating fast as I read it. My hands started shaking and my chest felt tight. He said he couldn't do this anymore. He said it wasn't because of me, that I had been the best thing in his life, but he couldn't be in a relationship right now. His mental health was getting worse, and he couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. We had been together for almost 5 years. We were high school sweethearts. When we met, we were both just kids trying to find our way. He was funny, smart, and had a kind heart. I was shy, but he made me feel safe. We talked every day. We laughed at the same silly things. We listened to the same music. He used to write me little notes and hide them in my books. I still have them. I keep them in a small box next to my bed. Sometimes I read them and I cry. After high school, we had to live in different cities. He went to study in one place, and I went somewhere else. It was hard, but we made it work. We talked every night before sleep. We made time to visit each other every 3 weeks. Sometimes he would take a long train just to spend 2 days with me. Sometimes I would travel all night just to see him for a weekend. We knew it wasn't easy, but we believed in each other. We believed in our love. He told me many times that I was his home. I told him the same. When we finally lived together for 6 months, it felt like a dream. We cooked together. We watched movies. We danced in the kitchen. Even when we fought, we knew how to say sorry. We knew how to listen. I thought we were strong enough to survive anything. But slowly, I started seeing him change. He smiled less. He slept more. He told me he felt empty sometimes. He said he didn't know why. I encouraged him to get help. He went to therapy. Sometimes he said it helped. Sometimes he said he didn't feel anything. But I stayed. I stayed because I loved him. I stayed because I believed we would get through it together. He told me that he still loved me. Even when he was at his worst, he said I was the one good thing in his life. He said I made the pain feel less heavy. That's why the breakup hurt so much. Because I didn't see it coming. I thought we were getting better. I thought things were finally calm. I thought we had made it through the storm. But then he said he couldn't do it anymore. That he didn't want to be in a relationship. That he didn't have the emotional energy to take care of himself, let alone me. He said it wasn't fair to me. He said I deserved someone who could be there fully, not someone who was always tired and empty. I understood what he was saying. I knew he wasn't lying. I knew he was doing what he thought was best. But that didn't make it hurt less. He told me again and again that I didn't do anything wrong, that it wasn't my fault, that he still loved me, that he was thankful for everything. He said it felt like right person, wrong time. He said, if life was different, if he was different, we would still be together. I told him I still loved him. I told him I would always be here. But he said he needed to be alone now. He needed to fix himself before he could be with anyone. He said he wanted me to be happy, even if it wasn't with him. The days after that were hard. I didn't know how to eat. I didn't know how to sleep. I didn't want to do anything. Even small things like taking a shower or brushing my hair felt too hard. The world felt gray, like the sky had lost its color. Everything I used to enjoy didn't feel the same. Music didn't sound the same. Food didn't taste the same. I kept thinking about him. I kept remembering all the little things. The way he laughed, the way he held my hand, the way he said my name. I still love him. I still miss him. I don't know how to stop. I don't know if I want to stop. I don't want him to become just a memory. I want to believe that if we are meant to be, we will find each other again. Maybe not now. Maybe not soon. But maybe one day. I try to believe that. Sometimes people tell me to move on. They say it's over, that I should forget. But how do you forget someone who was part of your soul? How do you stop loving someone who was your best friend? I don't think you can. I think the love just changes. It becomes softer, quieter. But it never really goes away. I wonder if he thinks about me too. I wonder if he misses me when he hears our song. I wonder if he remembers the nights we stayed up talking about our dreams. I hope he's okay. I hope he's healing. I hope he finds peace. Sometimes I get angry. I think about how unfair it is. We were so close. We were almost there. But life had other plans. And now I am alone with all these memories and feelings and no place to put them. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever been left Not because the love was gone, but because life got in the way? Or have you ever had to leave someone you loved because you knew you couldn't give them what they needed? If so, how did you heal? Did you ever find your way back to that person? Or did you find peace in letting them go? After the first few weeks, I started writing in a journal. I wrote down how I felt every day. Some days, the pages were full of sadness. Other days, they were full of memories. I wrote about the first time we kissed under the streetlight near my house. I wrote about the day he surprised me with flowers because I had a hard day at school. I wrote about how we used to walk in the rain, sharing one umbrella, laughing like nothing else mattered. Writing helped a little. It didn't take the pain away, but it made it easier to carry. I could see my own heart on the page. It reminded me that I was still alive, still feeling, still trying. Sometimes I would go outside and just sit in the park. I watched people walk by. I listened to birds. I looked at the trees and how the leaves moved with the wind. I tried to find small pieces of beauty. I tried to remind myself that the world was still here, even if my world had changed. I started seeing friends again. At first, I didn't feel like talking. I just sat with them. They didn't ask too many questions. They just let me be. That meant a lot. One of my friends said, "You don't have to be okay right now. Just breathe. Just be." I held on to those words. I still thought about him every day. I wondered how he was doing. I wondered if he was still going to therapy. Wondered if he missed me like I missed him. I didn't reach out. I wanted to. Every day I wanted to send a message. But I didn't. He said he needed space. He said he needed time to heal. So I gave it to him, even if it broke my heart. It's strange, isn't it? When you love someone so much, but the best thing you can do is let them go. Love isn't always holding on. Sometimes love is saying, "I want you to be okay, even if I'm not part of your life right now." Sometimes at night, I would cry into my pillow. I missed the sound of his voice. I missed the way he used to say, "Good night, my love." I missed the way he made me feel safe. It was hard to sleep alone. The silence felt louder than ever. I started reading books about healing, about love, about grief. One book said, "Grief is just love with nowhere to go." That sentence stayed with me. I think it's true. I still had all this love, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I put it into small things. I made my room beautiful. I cooked nice meals, even if I ate them alone. I wrote letters to him that I never sent. I cried when I needed to. I smiled when I could. There were moments I thought about whether we would ever get back together. Maybe one day when he's better. Maybe one day when life is kinder. But I also knew I couldn't wait forever. I had to keep living. I had to keep growing. I had to find happiness again, even without him. Still, I never stopped loving him. I don't think I ever will. Some people just stay in your heart forever, even if they're not in your life anymore. I don't know if that's sad or beautiful. Maybe it's both. Some days were easier than others. Some days I laughed. Some days I danced in my room. Some days I remembered that I am strong, that I can love deeply, and that I deserve to be loved in return. Other days were heavy. I missed him so much it hurt to breathe. But even on those days, I knew I was healing. Slowly. Quietly. Bit by bit. I started to dream again. I started thinking about the future. Not the future I had imagined with him, but a new one. A future where I could be happy, where I could feel joy again. Maybe with someone else, maybe just with myself. I didn't know yet, but I was starting to hope. If you have ever felt this kind of heartbreak, please know that you are not alone. Your pain is real. Your love was real. And even if it ended, that doesn't mean it failed. Sometimes love is not about forever. Sometimes it's about what you shared, what you gave, how you grew, and maybe one day he will come back. Maybe he will be healthy and ready. Maybe he will find me again. Or maybe he won't. Maybe we were only meant to walk part of the journey together. Whatever happens, I will always be thankful for the love we shared. I will always carry it with me. It was a Sunday morning when I finally opened the drawer and took out the old pictures. They had been sitting there for weeks, untouched. I wasn't ready before. I was afraid that if I looked at them, the pain would feel fresh again, like the wound had just opened. But something felt different that day. The sun was shining through the window. The world was quiet. My heart still hurt, but it wasn't screaming anymore. It was whispering. I picked up the first picture. It was from our first trip together. We had gone to the mountains. We were both smiling, arms around each other, wind in our hair, cheeks pink from the cold. I remembered how we had gotten lost on a trail but ended up finding a little waterfall. We sat there for hours, talking about our dreams, about where we saw ourselves in 10 years. He said, "As long as I'm with you, I don't care where I am." I believed him. I still believe he meant it. The pictures didn't make me cry that day. They made me smile. A soft, sad smile. Because yes, it hurt that we were not together anymore, but it also reminded me of how real our love was. It reminded me that I had felt something deep and true. Not everyone gets that in life. And even if it ended, it mattered. I think that's something people forget. Just because something ends doesn't mean it was a mistake. It doesn't mean it was wasted. Love is never wasted. It shapes us. It teaches us. It stays with us. I kept looking at the photos, birthday parties, movie nights, walks by the river, our first apartment, him sitting on the couch with his laptop, me reading a book next to him. Ordinary moments, but they meant everything, because we were together. We were each other's home. I gently put the photos back and closed the drawer. I didn't need to look at them all the time. But I didn't need to hide them anymore either. They were part of my story, part of who I was. Later that day, I went for a walk. The air felt warm, and there was a soft breeze. I watched the leaves moving in the trees. I saw people smiling, couples holding hands, kids playing in the park. For a moment, I felt like I was part of the world again. Not just watching from behind a wall of pain, but really living. I took a deep breath, and it didn't hurt as much. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It's slow. Some days you feel like you're getting better. Then other days, the sadness hits you all over again. And that's okay. That's how it goes. You don't have to be strong every second. You just have to keep moving, even if it's just one small step at a time. There were moments when I felt guilty for laughing, for enjoying something, for feeling okay. I wondered if that meant I was forgetting him. But I wasn't. I could never forget him. I was just learning how to carry the love without the pain. I was learning how to be me again. I started making new memories. I went to a cafe I had always wanted to try. I painted my room a new color. I bought a plant and named it something silly. I made a playlist of songs that made me feel calm. I talked to new people. I allowed myself to dream again. And even though he was not there, I still talked to him in my mind sometimes. I told him about my day. I told him I hoped he was okay. I told him I was trying. Maybe he would never hear those words, but I needed to say them anyway. I still believe in love. I still believe in connection. And maybe one day our paths will cross again. Maybe he'll walk into a cafe and see me sitting there, smiling, not broken anymore. Maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll remember the good times. Or maybe we won't. Maybe that chapter is closed for good. But I will always carry him with kindness. I will always hope he found what he was searching for. And I will always be thankful that for a time, we walked through life hand in hand. If you are reading this and your heart is hurting too, please know that it will not always feel this way. The pain will not always be this loud. You will not always feel this lost. One day you'll wake up and the world will look a little brighter. Your heart will feel a little lighter, and you'll realize you are healing. You will smile again. You will love again. Maybe someone new, maybe yourself, maybe both. Love leaves a mark, but so does healing, and both can be beautiful. One night, about 2 months after the breakup, I found myself standing at the old bus stop near my childhood home. It was quiet. The streetlights buzzed gently above me. I hadn't planned to be there. It just sort of happened. My feet took me there, like they remembered something I didn't. That bus stop was where he had once waited for me on cold evenings after school, where we had shared hot chocolate from a thermos, where we had sat and talked about everything and nothing. It was a place that had held us before the world got heavy. I sat on the bench and looked at the empty road. I let the silence wrap around me. My heart didn't ache as much. It still hurt, but in a different way. It was like when you press on a bruise, not sharp pain, but a dull reminder of something that once was. I thought about how we used to dream. We used to talk about living in a house with big windows, somewhere quiet with a garden full of sunflowers. He said he would build a bookshelf from scratch for my favorite books. I said I'd cook his favorite meals on rainy days. We made plans, like most people our age didn't. We didn't talk about if. We talked about when. And then life happened. His mental health began to change. It started with small things. He was quieter, more tired, sometimes distant. But I knew him. I noticed the changes. I didn't walk away. I stayed. I wanted to stay. Love is not just about the good days. It's about showing up, even when the sky is gray. He showed up for me too. Even in his darkest times, he tried. He still smiled at me. He still told me he loved me. There were moments when he couldn't get out of bed, but he would still reach for my hand. That meant everything. It still does. Some people say love should be easy, that if it's hard, it's not meant to be. But I don't believe that. I think real love is sometimes messy. It's patient. It's forgiving. It's standing beside someone even when the path is unclear. We had that kind of love. And maybe that's why it hurts so much to be without it. But I've also started to understand something else. Loving someone doesn't always mean holding on forever. Sometimes it means letting go when they need space to heal. Sometimes the bravest kind of love is the one that says, I'll love you from afar if that's what you need. I don't regret anything. Not the love, not the pain, not even the ending. He taught me how to love deeply, how to care without limits, how to be patient. And I think I taught him how to feel safe, how to be accepted even when he felt broken. We gave each other something that can't be taken away. Now, I try to give that love to myself. I'm learning to be gentle with my heart. I'm learning that healing is not a straight line. Some days are light, some days are heavy, and both are okay. I've started doing small things again, listening to music in the morning, going for long walks, writing stories that help me breathe. I talk to my friends more. I've even laughed without feeling guilty. That surprised me. It felt strange, then good, then natural. Like sunlight through a window I forgot was open. Sometimes I still dream about him. Not in a sad way, just memories. He's there, and we're happy. And I wake up with a bittersweet feeling. I don't push it away, I let it be. Our story still lives inside me. And that's okay. Maybe one day, someone will ask about my first great love. I'll smile and tell them about him, about the boy who made me believe in soulmates, who held my hand when the world felt too big, who whispered dreams into my ear when I was afraid to dream. I will tell them it ended, but it was beautiful. Because it was. Sometimes I wonder if he thinks about me. If he remembers the sound of my laugh or the way I used to play with his hair when he was tired. I wonder if he still has the letters I wrote to him. If he ever reads them. If he ever misses me. But whether he does or not, I know what we had. I know it was real, and I know now I am still whole, even without him.